Hey, what's up, dudes? So, finally made it back. Been down in San Diego. You guys saw some of my cool stuff I shared with you. BZ Watchdog says that he did a 9-hour stream and didn't make any money. Well, dude, don't go on YouTube because you think you're going to make money, bro. You know, that's not how it works. But I got to visit mom, got to bring my daughter to visit Abuelita. And so she's super happy. My wife's still down in El Salvador. And we're really considering moving down there, because that's the place to be if you want to raise a family and not have your kids brainwashed by the administrative state. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. All right. So, what's up, lawyer dog? Sly Shy 58. Sly Shylock. What's up, homie? Says, I try to tell him, Michael, it's all good, brother. He'll figure it out, man. He's the Marine. What do you expect? We're freaking crazy. We think we're good, but we're also retarded sometimes. But it is what it is. But I want you guys to support my homeboy BZ always. So yeah, so I got to go down. Hopefully, you guys watched some of my videos. I was down there in San Diego, and that's where I used to live. I used to be stationed at Camp Pendleton, and then I had, the super hot girlfriend thing going on, bouncing around from super hot girlfriend to super hot girlfriend. Because I'm not an ugly guy, I was super good looking when I was younger. Now I'm kind of messed up, but that's what the stress of practicing law does. But anyways, when I was down there, I was watching Vet TV, and I love Vet TV, guys. And I've got this 3-hour live from Reluctant Prophet, and normally I can click on a video and I can go right to the transcript, but I'm not able to do it for whatever reason. And so I'm like, shit, man, it's freaking doggone 17:52 hours right now. Like, how am I going to get through this? And since old girl's gone, I had to ship out and get some chow for my daughter. Otherwise, it would have started at 1700. But hey, what's up, Salt Shaker? What's going on with you, Snark and Sass? And right on, life under the microscope. Good to see you, brother. So I started on my pure carnivore diet today. So this morning I did the eggs. I did the prosciutto or whatever that Italian thing is called, where you. Anyways, prosciutto. What the hell is it called, man? Anyways, I put that in my eggs, and then tonight I went and got some freaking doggone steak. Got some steak tonight. And they brought me this big pile of potatoes and broccoli and all this stuff, and I pushed that aside. I chowed down on the steak. Right now, you can see I'm holding a lot of water, man. Ate garbage food and had a couple of beers down in San Diego. So, you screw up sometimes. What are you going to say? Let me see here. Risotto. I don't know if that's risotto. It was prosciutto. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's Russian. All right. So let me see here. We got Lawyer Dog in the house. We got James Forbes. Good seeing you, James. Group 2FA. Good seeing you too. So I was checking out. Stuff happens. That's right, James. Yeah. I was kind of bummed out, because my dad passed away. Even though mom and dad were broken up, they had a lot of respect for each other. Because my mom knew that my dad was probably the best decision she ever made. Otherwise, she wouldn't have had me. But anyways, so I was checking out Reluctant Prophet, and man, this dude, just him and Lane Myers. I'll be honest with you. When I first started watching Lane, I was like, this dude's just totally self-absorbed narcissist, right? And I started watching him more and more and started seeing what he was doing. And I was like, wait a minute, this guy reminds me a lot of me, but on steroids, you know? And then I started thinking about it. I became a lawyer because I wanted to help people, and it was a goal, you know, become a lawyer with no law school or undergrad. Then I started thinking about it more, and I was like, because he's a pro se litigant, he's got way more power, way more control over his life than an officer of the court. And then watching Reluctant Prophet with his Contempt of Cop podcast blew me away. Like, wow. Hey, SWE. Jag älskar dig. Jag talar inte svenska. For you guys who are just joining me, I am attorney Michael Eline. I am an attorney licensed in California and Texas. And I try to help people, but I primarily do car accidents and stuff like that, because when I became a lawyer, the only people who would train me to become an attorney were personal injury lawyers. So I became really good at personal injury law. But my passion has always been constitutional law, civil rights law. And so when I started watching Reluctant Prophet and Lane Myers, it just like kind of blew me away. Like, wow, these dudes are killing it. And then I saw, like, it almost looks like Arizona's the dumping ground for lawyers and potentially the black-robed taskmasters, I won't say tyrants, to go to take over the federal judgeships. Perhaps, because I couldn't say anything that's derogatory. That's the problem. That's one of the things that I really respect about RP and Lane, is that once you become an officer of the court, your free speech rights are restricted as to what you can and can't say. So it's kind of rough. But, you know, I chose my path. I was a blue collar guy, and I could have stayed that way. But my dad told me he hated lawyers and didn't want me to be a lawyer. So naturally, my first inclination was to rebel and find a way to become a lawyer, because that's what boys do who have alpha male dads who they don't feel accepted by, right? So that's what you do. But hey, Group 2FA, right on, Stomper. Yeah, make sure to support each other. Stomper's saying, do you have a YouTube channel? Yeah, well, if he doesn't, hey, this is a public service. What's going on, brother? I see you over there at RP's channel. Anyways, so guys, let me just kick off my show really quick. I don't want to get too crazy. I got this strange feeling we're going to be on here for a long freaking time, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm very, very impressed by what I see with these two Arizona pro se dudes, and they bring back memories of when I was. We didn't call it cop watching back then, but you know, getting my face kicked in by cops because I asked them for a copy of their photo ID. So let me just kick off my show really quick, and hopefully you guys will understand a little bit more as we get into this a little more, because I got to make a head call too. So after I do my kickoff, I'm going to play you some stuff from Vet TV, because that's what I've been watching down in San Diego. And then we'll get into Lane and Reluctant Prophet and what happened. Because I have all these freaking tards coming on my post and saying, oh, well, the guy who manages the storage facility, what's his name? Merb, says that, well, it was without prejudice. So that means that he can bring it again. And I'm like thinking to myself, the only time I've ever seen a case get dismissed with or without prejudice is with permission of a judge. And so I'm looking at all these posts going, okay, this is crazy. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to actually, I have to, hopefully one of you guys can help me out. Like, I have to find Lane's. The dude freaking walks up to Judge Ball and starts basically like reading him the riot act about what the law is in Arizona. And I just couldn't believe it, man. Like, everything that I thought about this guy initially is partially was true, the good parts, and then all the bad parts were dispelled, you know. And the more I see what he's doing, and I learn about him, and I learn about like the guys that they're trying to support, it's like, wow, these guys are just like me when I was younger, you know, like, not just like, but you know what I mean. Anyways, so let me just kick off the show really quick and we'll get into it, all right? To another edition of Ask Michael Eline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner
by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and mean to keep it well. Come here to learn from an expert to know your right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel.
Yeah, that's what's up. You never know when the thought police are going to try to take down my channel, especially now. You know, even though like most of my investments are in the thought police channel, Google, but that's going to change pretty soon. What do you guys think? Should I keep my investments in Google, or should I move them into something else? I just have a hard time with some Marxist run platform, you know. You guys tell me. Give me a bunch of ones if I should move all my assets out of Google or put them into something that's more pro-America instead of pro-poop in the street. Let me know. Hey, Ghost Man. Good seeing you, brother. I love seeing you guys here. I was missing doing my shows, but I did do a couple of cool shows for you guys when I was in San Diego, just for fun. Like I showed you MCRD from the airport. Like when I was down at MCRD San Diego, we would always see the planes flying, and I'm like sitting in this chair with my daughter, and I look across and I go, damn, those buildings, those structures look so familiar, like bright freaking yellow, you know, it's like, what the hell is that? So I like, was like, wait a minute. So I go on Grok, right? I'm like, is MCRD next to like Lindbergh Field? Yes. It's like, dude, that's freaking where I like became a Marine, man. I got all motivated. It's freaking cool, man. Hey, Kevin, good seeing you. Kevin Biernarski. So I figured before I start the show, because I got to make a quick head and water call. And at the risk of getting a strike or whatever, I'm hoping that these freaking guys at the Veterans channel will not get upset. But I'm gonna play you this freaking. I'm gonna play this for you. Thanks, Ghost Man. Yeah, Lane talking to Ball was insane. Group 2FA. I was blown away. So Lane's got like this Cray computer ability to, yeah, he's brash and he cusses a lot, but the dude is able, I don't know how he does it, but he has a better recall than me. So guys, I have a 160 IQ. I mean, I'm higher than most of the population, and my daughter she inherited from me this really fast processing speed. So I'm able to spot like genius personality types pretty much like that. And I just couldn't believe it. So I'm going to try maybe one of you. Okay. I'm going to ask help from hold on a minute. Before I go live on Team MPE tonight, I'm going to ask you guys, normally I can upload the transcript and do like a search to find, because I was going to do a search for like, with prejudice, without prejudice, to try to find because it's a 3-hour video that Reluctant Prophet did, Contempt of Court podcast episode 9. So I was watching this, listening and like chatting in, like getting a little crazy, you know, having some fun. And I want to find the sections that are most relevant to the show. Number one is I want to dispel all the nonsense. The guys who manage the storage facilities who think that they're lawyers who have never done a case other than like some stupid family law case. I want to dispel them and all their loser followers, subscribers, and all their dumb thought process because they're just retards, and help them understand that the difference between with prejudice, without prejudice, and all that stuff. So I'm hoping we can have some fun tonight. Ghost Man, you would have been a great machine gunner. Ghost Man says he's got a 67 IQ. He wins. Yeah. That's awesome, man. What's up, Sean? Good to go, brother. Well, you know, it's racist to have a. Well, yeah, Sean. I became a lawyer with no undergrad or law degree too, dude. I wanted to be a Marine because I wanted to be like my dad. So yeah, a 160 IQ infantry Marine, but I got injured at. So I was the first series. Then I'll get on with it. I was the first series or the second series to have to do out of my boot, Platoon 2023 Golf Company. Senior drill instructor, Gunnery Sergeant Mender. The strong survive, the weak die. To have to go to MCT. So since I was an 03 designee, we had to go to MCT and then go to SOI. Now I think they call it like ITR or some shit, which is what they called it when my dad was in Infantry Training Regiment. So yeah, that's what happened. So I got injured at MCT and then got sent over to SOI and went through the whole course, but I couldn't do the marches because I was on crutches. So at the end of the school, these fucking troop handlers sorry about that, YouTube, that I said a bad word, made me stand in front of my whole platoon on crutches while they got their freaking picture taken. And then they sent me to a medical platoon, which was just a bunch of malingering pieces of garbage. And then ultimately I got boarded out, but honorably. But biggest regret ever, brother. Sean, I think I could have been a great Marine. Like, I think I could have been a lifer. And so even though I was only in for a short time, the Marine Corps once you're a Marine, you're always a Marine. You join the Army, you join the Air Force, you join the Coast Guard, join the Navy, but you become a United States Marine. And it's true. You really do. And so because of what happened, I was always in a pissed off mood and couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I owned a limousine business. I was Rodney Dangerfield's limousine driver, which was really cool. Had a couple of construction companies, made hundreds of thousands of dollars selling earthquake braces after the Loma Prieta 84 earthquakes in California through Office of Emergency Services and FEMA. So I had a couple of health clubs. I helped start the LA Fitness off of Santiago Canyon Road. It used to be an Orange County Athletic Club. And I was friends with the Whitings. The Whitings owned Huntington Beach Athletic Club, OCAC, as well as the one off of Anaheim Hill. I think they called it Anaheim Hills Athletic Club. And then Steve Griffin bought that out. And ultimately, Steve and his partner sold that to Lewis and Chin over at LA Fitness. So you guys can literally fact check me. Like, honestly, I have no reason to lie, guys. Like, I'm not that proud of my background, but a lot of other people are impressed by it. And the reason I share it with you guys is because there's a lot of people out there who are going through depression and they don't think that they can make it. And I just want you to know that, like, what the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. You really can. So, really quick. Hey, what's going on, Dawn? Right on. Life Under says all my instructors, Life Under, who I've become a really good friend with, says all my instructors were Marines. Right on. Well, yeah, because, the Marine Corps mentality is do or die. And I can tell that you have that same mentality. And it's legit, man. Oh, shit. I didn't know you were Air Force, dude. Holy crap. You never told me you were in the military. Well, I wouldn't brag about being in the Air Force either, but unless you were a PJ, but I'm not denigrating your service. I'm just saying in the Marines, we make fun of Air Force. We make fun of all the branches because we know we're the best and we know it. But yeah, Corps is spelled CORPS, by the way. Don't embarrass yourself, Sean, because these dudes will be there for you no matter what. I'll be there for you no matter what. So at least give us the right pronunciation and spelling. No, it's cool, Mike. No, I'm not. It's cool, Mike. All right, Ghost Man. Yeah. So, anyways, man, I just want you guys to know, like, not everybody who's a lawyer is like pro-government or pro-administrative state. Some people become lawyers because they really want to make a difference in the world. And other people are just challenged because they want to be the best. And so to me, when I was out of the Corps, I remember my lawyer who helped me with the case where I got beat up by a West Covina cop because I asked him for a copy of his ID. The super hot waitress saw his credit card because he put ESQ, on his credit card. I'll never forget this. She's like, "You're a lawyer?" Ooh, like her face got all blush red. Like gives him her phone number, and he was not exactly the most like handsome dude. Like compared to me, he was like not even comparable. But yet, because she saw him as a lawyer, that made him attractive to her. So I never forgot that. I was like, you know what, man, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to find a way. He told me there's a way you could become a lawyer with no law degree or undergrad. So I went for it. And it's the same thing that Kim Kardashian's doing. Hey, thanks, Ghost Man. Ghost Man says that I'm awesome. Well, my wife used to think that too. But after 24 years, I guess things changed a little bit. But hey, at least we're still together. So she must still think I'm still kind of awesome, right? Anyways, guys, I got to make a head call. Like I'm getting ready to explode right now. So I'm going to play some freaking doggone Vet TV for y'all. Let me just really quick switch back over to Vet TV. All right, there you. We're going to play it real quick. You guys have some fun. I'm going to make a head call, and I'm going to try to find this section in the Contempt of Cop podcast, episode 9, that I want to find. Let's go.
Morning, gentlemen. My name is Lieutenant Fuller. I'll be your officer in charge today. Take note of that key word, officer.
Fuller looks corny, man.
Most of you will be attached to the 1st Platoon Fox Company, so you're gonna need to get acquainted with this rifle quick. The M16 is the preferred platform of the US of A. It fires a .566 ball round with a muzzle velocity of 3,110 feet per second. Ah, damn.
Yo, this is gross, man.
Sir.
هذه الأسلحة خطيرة جدا.
انتك وصلت رصاص أكبر بجوزة أختي.
Hell yes. I knew this would fire your savages up. Now, you want to keep a few things in mind. You want to square up with your target of engagement. That way your sappy plate is straight ahead and ready to protect you. You want to have your dominant foot slightly back and have a nice little bounce to your frame.
I bet you $50 in the PJ. One of the AMP smokes them before this pump's over.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Done.
That way, in the event that you take a bullet to the chest, you'll be sturdy enough to remain upright. Oh, hey! Warm it up! Now! Get out! Nobody's finding me a come on, these blast in the face, bro. Hold him to the ball. Oh, no. This guy was a huge bro.
You believe it. No, I ain't got nothing till payday.
Out freaking standing. All right, so obviously I don't want to play that music because I always get these copyright strikes, but I'm gonna drop this link for y'all. Just give me a second, guys, because this is like the ultimate. Like Vet TV is so awesome. I like if I had been smart enough and these guys were publicly traded, I would have invested in this company because veterans are super loyal. So we'll support our people. You know what I mean? So let me just see here. What's going on, guys? Hold on. Let me throw this up here. All right. So I'm going to try to find really quick. Just give me 1 minute. Ein Moment. So guys, did you guys enjoy your holiday so far? Give me a bunch of ones if you're having a good holiday. I'm going to drop this right here for you guys. Hopefully you guys like that. Great reaction video. Sounds like an officer. You guys rock, man. All right, let me get over to Reluctant Prophet because that's what this is really about. I just had to buy myself some freaking time, man. All right, give me a minute here. All right. So let me give you the backdrop. So Reluctant Prophet is a dude who supports this other dude who got screwed under and who's getting screwed under in Arizona. So I want to give you guys my really quick. I'm only licensed to practice law in Texas and California, but you guys know that I'm a lawyer and you know that I'm a patriot and that I support the the commoners, right? The ones that I'm not a Harvard, Obama type, full of shit lawyer. I'm a regular dude with a blue collar background, and I really support the common man. And I'm just super smart. I'm not bragging. I just am. God bless me. But I know that I'm smart, and I know that a lot of other people aren't. And I know that God's called me to try to look after other people who are less gifted than me intellectually, because I know that they're more gifted than me when it comes to having a big heart and being caring good people. And so because I grew up in construction and I used to live in a tent in the backyard of this Mexican family when my dad kicked me out of the house in a tent. And I'll never forget them, because there was one of my dad's laborers. He's making like $3 an hour. They're trying to marry me off to their daughter. And I'll never forget that, and like, I just remember that don't judge people based on how smart they are or how intellectually smart they are or whatever. In fact, I'm teaching my son that he needs to go to become a plumber or an electrician. Forget about college. I mean, that's where you go to learn how to hate your country and burn American flags. Like learn how to love your country, right? College is where all the communists go. If you want to like make money, because all the communists, what do? They're a barista at Starbucks, right? Or they become a president, like Barack Hussein Sotero. But like people in my family understand, like blue collar workers are the dad wants you to be a blue collar guy. So, anyways, I don't know what I was just saying right now because I'm just like extreme. I'm tired, guys. So the last 4 days we visited Abuelita. My daughter is just nonstop. Can we ride bikes? Can we do this? Can we do that? So that's all I'm doing is just looking after my kid. My wife's got my son who's a judoka because I don't let her go anywhere without security. That's how it works in my family. Mi familia, you know what I mean? So she's down there doing that. Hey, what's up, Brandy? Good seeing you. Super happy to have you guys here. So yeah, thank you for supporting my channel, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, I do have this book. Where the hell is my book? Here it is. Here. Go to if you guys want to support my channel, besides a super chat or, by the way, it's the end of New Year's. So let's see how many super chats and super stickers you can give me so my wife won't scream at me when she comes back for not going shopping for my daughter. Well, honey, I was doing my show. So, anyways, besides that, you can get a copy of my book, My Journey to Becoming a Practicing Lawyer with No Law Degree or Undergrad. You can pick that up for $19.99. And I talk about what I did, but then Life Under told me I need to talk about the fact that I used to be Rodney Dangerfield's limo driver and like all the stuff that I did before I became a lawyer, which I don't really get into too much in my book. My book really covers the states that allow you to become a lawyer with no law degree, which is really cool. But then I'm seeing guys like Lane and Reluctant Prophet, like those dudes, they can get away with stuff that I can't get away with. Like as an officer of the court, if I was to do the things that Lane does or Reluctant Prophet's doing, I would immediately become disbarred. And that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Now, the upside is that I've externed for an appellate justice and I've got over 20 years experience as a lawyer now. And I can still do other things that are just as beneficial as what they're doing and still support them. And one of them is that my strong suit is appellate law. And so when I see what's going on with Reluctant Prophet, I'm automatically thinking writ of prohibition, writ of mandate, like what could this guy be doing? And if I was licensed to practice law in Arizona, I could be like his pro bono, counsel, whatever. The problem is, guys, I got to be honest with you. I know you guys think all lawyers are rich or whatever, and I used to be very well off, but whenever the government gets involved, even if you are a lawyer, they can screw you. So every time when they did that government shutdown, it wiped out our law practice. So I got my law license in Texas, but now I'm thinking maybe I should get my license in Arizona. Well, here's the problem. To help out guys like Reluctant Prophet and Lane for the things that they're not authorized to do, right? Like I could still do their appellate briefs, right? I could work in tandem with them to help them. But here's the problem that you guys don't understand. Okay, by you helping me support my channel financially or as a volunteer, it would enable me to be able to afford the MCLE credits. It's very expensive. And malpractice insurance, it's not cheap. So I have to cover my malpractice insurance. And then I've got to take an MCLE, continuing education of the bar, for Arizona, Texas, and California. And it's not cheap, because all these people, they blow all their money and then they expect us to pay for it. So if you guys are really serious and you want me to like do more things for the patriot community, support me financially and I'll stop practicing law and I'll stop doing my regular practice of law and focus more on patriotic things because I'm one of the few guys who will actually do it. Gang member dues, right? Curious George. Well, maybe. But the facts are the facts. It's the 10th Amendment, not the Constitution, but the 10th Amendment of the Constitution says that rights preserved by the states or powers preserved by the states remain with the states. And one of those would be the power to license or establish a state bar. And that's what it is. So you guys who say, oh, you're a member of the bar, the British Accreditation Register, you guys, I'm sorry, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, all right? It has nothing to do with anything. It's just nonsense. Each state has the right to license their own lawyers or not, but they choose to license them. Why? Because it's about money. But for me, it was never about money. It was about doing the right thing and helping less privileged people. So you're right, Brandy. Hey, Jody, good seeing you, honey. I mean, ma'am. Sorry. I'm just in a good mood because we're finally home. I don't know if you guys can see, but my face is like bright red because Scandinavians don't get suntan. They get lobsterized. And so being down in SD, I got lobsterized, man. Hey, Black Man, what's up, brother? What's up, homeboy? Hey, you. I got Black Man 903. Love that gray beard, dude. Right on. Let me see here. We need your approach as well as Lane's. It's all good, says Brent. Well, Brent, look, I know that like most people have been trained to hate lawyers, but not all people who became lawyers are like the lawyers who went to Columbia or Harvard. We're just not. And everyone's a human being. And I was raised as a blue collar guy, reared. And so my heart's always with the blue collar people. So what we'll do is we'll get into Reluctant Prophet. I don't even want to play the Grunt Life thing anymore, but I sent you the link. I hate it when they do that stupid music, man. Pisses me off. But hopefully Reluctant Prophet's here tonight. I did send him a message that I would be going live and talking about his show. But damn, dude, almost 4 hours, homie. It's like 6:30 right now. So let's just get into Reluctant Prophet. And I'll cut in and I'm going to, if you guys can help me find the section, somebody send me the timestamp, please. One of you guys send me the timestamp where Lane is basically interrogating Judge Ball, as well as the section that talks about when his case was dismissed with or without prejudice, because I want to just put that to rest once and for all. Because what Reluctant Prophet did is, to me, a Herculean achievement, akin to becoming a lawyer with no law school. Very, very impressed by this guy and what he was able to do. So let's get into it. Hopefully. Hopefully it's going to start playing. There we go.
The Utah Kid, thanks for coming in. Simba B, how was everybody's holiday? You guys all have a good Christmas? Hopefully so. Awesome. Hey, girl with the camera, Simba B, Utah, Paul Walker, Sylvia, John Denicola. How you doing, sir? Joe Antunes. Did you guys all have a good Christmas? That's good. That's good. Mine was a little unexpected and different than the usual Christmas, that's for sure. Hey, Buzz, Jennifer, thanks for coming in. The first thing I want to go over is, when I got into, hey, Bob, when I got into the court, I wanted to get there an hour early, but I was still preparing. And yeah, John, that's the thing. The damages are ongoing with the developer over there. The developer, Michael, he actually blocked me on LinkedIn.
Not
I
me.
sent him a message.
I'm not the developer.
But I'm going to go over that. I'll probably go over that here in the next week on the agreement that we had.
Thanks,
tried to
Life
send
Under.
me
Thank
a
you, brother.
contract with
Got you.
all kinds of stupid stipulations in there. And I sent them back an agreement that I would agree to. And then they canceled the negotiations and then went ahead and then came back and made a verbal agreement and didn't honor it. Not very good. Not very good at honoring their word. But anyways, I got to court at 10:30.
Real quick, Life Under, where's the section where he talks about the judge, the actual trial judge? Where's the timestamp for that one where he talks about the trial judge with prejudice and without prejudice? Because that's the one that all the freaking home people that I don't like are, oh, well, he didn't dismiss it with prejudice, and that means right. So I want that. I want to get into that. Okay, so if you can help me find that, that would be amazing.
30. And as you'll see, you'll be able to see my tripod standing next to me. I was trying to get set up and go live, but some family came in to support me, and obviously I wanted to say hi to them. And then next thing I knew, as I was plugging my GoPro in, why I didn't hit record, I don't know. I just don't know. But while I was sitting there, Judge Ball walked around the corner from the elevator right while I had my GoPro in my hand. I don't know why I set it down in my bag. I thought maybe toe tag was recording, but Judge Ball came up around the corner out of the elevator, walked right up to me with rolled up papers in his hand. He was a little fidgety, and he said, "Do you mind having a conversation?" And I said, "No, sure. What do you want to talk about?" And he began to start talking about, the reason why I did this, and told me that right off the bat, told me that the reason why he did this were because he was getting death threats. Again, I hate to call anybody out as a liar, but obviously there'd been more going on before that with Judge Ball, and then to say that the title of my video.
All right, so just really quick, just me discuss something with you. So for those of you who are just joining me, so Judge Ball brought a lawsuit against Reluctant Prophet for defamation as well as for injunctive relief, basically, to have Reluctant Prophet's YouTube channel shut down. I mean, it reminded me of something right out of the Obama administration, right? Like anybody who disagrees with us, you have to silence them. Call your buddies over at Facebook, call your buddies over at Twitter, back when it was run by the communists, and just shut them down. And that's what it reminded me of, to be honest, just between you, me, and the fence post. I was blown away. And I'm trying to understand what's going on. So basically, Judge Ball brought this injunctive relief motions saying that I need you to take down Reluctant Prophet's YouTube channel because he's saying things about me that are untrue and it's putting my life in danger. So what does he do? He files a defamation lawsuit and a motion for injunctive relief, or a petition for injunctive relief. And it's Arizona, by the way. I don't practice law in Arizona. I don't profess to know anything about Arizona law, and I'm not giving you Arizona law legal advice. Everything I tell you is based upon my experience as a California or Texas lawyer, okay? Just understand that. But I'm looking at it and I'm going, this is interesting. So he's saying that his life's being threatened, and that's why he's getting rid of this petition. Okay, now normally if I was going to file a motion to dismiss, or I was seeking injunctive relief, before I filed that motion that my life was in danger, I was being threatened, I would provide actual evidence like affidavits, witness statements, evidence that my life was being threatened. And conversely, if I was trying to have my motion or petition removed that where my life was being threatened, I would want to provide evidence to the court, to the actual trial court. Why? Let me tell you why. Think about it for a minute, guys. Because I don't want the case to be dismissed with prejudice. Okay. With prejudice means that the trial court is going to dismiss the case with prejudice, and I can never bring that lawsuit back again. Okay. But now if my life's being threatened and I want to hire additional security, I want to get state protection, right? I want that to be dismissed without prejudice. And what that means is I can bring the lawsuit again. So hopefully you guys are understanding. Like, with prejudice means I can never bring the case again. Without prejudice means I can, but for whatever reason, I can't go forward with the case today. Does that give me a bunch of ones if you guys understand that? I just want to make sure. And I'm looking over at the sidebar. Hold on one second. I just got a text message from somebody we all care about. Okay. So I need to look. So life under, I'm being told that if you look around 45 minutes into the video, you should be able to find the part about with and without prejudice. So help me out, brother. So do you guys understand the difference between with and without prejudice? Because I'll be honest with you, as a lawyer and having practiced law for 20 years, and you have to forgive me, sometimes I assume you guys know more than you do. So work with me so we can all be on the same page, because it's no fun to go on a journey with someone if they don't understand, all the steps to the journey. Okay, so help me out. Yes, that's right, Heidi. So Heidi nailed it. So, and by the way, guys, I teach people how to become lawyers without law school. So I am a good teacher, and I found that the best way to learn is to teach. So this is helping me learn too. So this is good stuff. All right. That's right. So yes, clear. Hurrah! Got me motivated right now. So with prejudice means you can't refile that case. So I got all this blowback when I said, hey, good job. Reluctant Prophet got the judge to basically, and when I say judge, I mean the judge suing Reluctant Prophet. Because so there's a justice of the peace named Judge Ball, who to me looks like he's about an 18-year-old kid, who apparently clerked or externed for some federal judges for like six years. And then allegedly he put on his campaign website when he was running for justice of the peace that he had 9 years judicial experience. And so Lane Myers called him out and said, well, that's a lie. That gives you an appearance of impropriety. You're telling people that you've got 9 years of experience as a judge when you've only been on the bench for 3. And so judicial experience means that you've been a judge, and under the judicial canons, that means that you lied. Well, at some point or another, that the website that had all that came down. And I'm just thinking he's just got to be really young and not have any guidance from a mentor, the judge, Ball, because I know that you can go to the Wayback Machine and pretty much find anything. So Lane, sure enough, pulls it up on the Wayback Machine and shows where he says 9 years judicial experience. So part one is that Reluctant Prophet also said, hey, that's false. And the other one is you got my buddy falsely imprisoned because Lane went into court and started cussing and swearing, and you had your bailiffs and deputies remove him from the courtroom, and then he ended up getting incarcerated. And then Judge Ball allegedly, and I don't know this or not, but allegedly said, well, I'm not responsible for what my staff did after you were removed from the courtroom. Therefore, I'm not guilty of false imprisonment. And I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. Journalist or not, if you like, sure, Lane and Reluctant Prophet, they're journalists, but they're not experts. They're not lawyers. They don't know the exact difference between false imprisonment, kidnapping, right? Or any of that stuff. So, because they're not lawyers. So they're saying that Lane was kidnapped. And other people are republishing that statement of kidnapping. And so Judge Ball is saying that, well, and again, Judge Ball is saying this as a litigant, that these guys are guilty of lying and disparaging my reputation for saying that I kidnapped somebody. So I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. They're laymen. And if that's their opinion that you were kidnapped, then that's an opinion. And by the way, guys, I've done, I would say, a little over 50 defamation cases as a lawyer. I'll never touch them again with a 10-foot pole. You can go to my elinelaw.com website and see one of my most noteworthy defamation claims where I was a defendant and I won a defamation case on appeal on an anti-SLAPP issue. So I know defamation law like the back of my hand, and I know that 99.99% of plaintiffs' cases get blown out. Defamation cases are probably the most difficult case to win ever. And typically they're won on just a money issue. Like you just don't have the money to defend it, so you settle. But so I'm just telling you, I've got a lot of experience doing these cases. And so like I'm thinking to myself, the judge brought this case pro se in federal court. Oh, was he? Lane was never served. Yeah, Lane was never. So Brent says Lane was never served a lawsuit for that same claim. Well, look, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm very impressed by Lane Myers, or I wouldn't be doing this show. Like I'm just blown away. Like, because when I was growing up, there were only a few guys. There was Bob Schaefer, there was Eric Richard Williams, and there was the Freeman of Montana, but they were short-lived. And there was Dan Tankersley up north. Dan was the man. Dan's the guy who taught me how to beat traffic tickets. Administratively, you argued penal code section 9, default the city clerk, and file your default with the demur, and you get your case dismissed. And that's how I won a lot of my cases. But yeah, just super interesting. Anyways, so Myers, well, not Myers. So Judge Ball brings a claim against Reluctant Prophet for republishing. So the way you can get sued for defamation is to republish a knowing false statement. But the problem is the judge as a public official, he also had to prove under New York Times versus Sullivan that the case was brought maliciously or with a knowing disregard for the truth, right? That these guys knowingly disregarded the truth. And what was the truth? Well, whether or not Judge Ball kidnapped Reluctant Lane Myers. And so I think that was the thrust of his defamation case. And then in addition to the defamation case, there was a petition to enjoin and to seize or shut down Reluctant Prophet's YouTube channel. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, this guy's a judge and he's going to try to like do that? Really? Because, all that's going to do is inflame like 1,000,000% of every other YouTube channel to talk about it, right? I mean, the worst thing you can do to try to stop something is to try to stop it. Because all it's going to do is make everybody else who hates you even more. And give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree with that. Like, the best way to stop something is just to like ignore it and hope that it goes away. But to like keep putting a spotlight on it, well, I think we know what's going to happen. So, and that's what happened. So anyways, he brings this an injunctive relief action as well as a defamation claim. And of course, because it's so there's a couple ways this works. So with a defamation claim, there's also presumed damages, right? So libel per se, and what's the other one? Slander per se. So slander is spoken. Slander is spoken and libel is written. Defamation. So Judge Ball had the right to argue that damages are presumed, right? Damages are presumed. But the problem is you don't get to damages until you get to liability. Okay, so damages are like over here, liabilities here. So first you have to prove that the statement was made knowingly false or with a reckless disregard. But since they're not trained lawyers, they're just journalists, they don't know that kidnapping is any different from false imprisonment. But what we do know is, because common sense says, if I tell my courtroom staff to arrest you and take you out of my courtroom, and then you get thrown in jail, well, there's a nexus between my action and yours. And under common law, that's vicarious liability. You're vicariously master and servant. You're vicariously liable for the actions of your servants, right? You commanded them to do something, and whatever they do after that. So he's arguing in his papers that, or at least an email, I guess, to Reluctant Prophet, that he's not responsible for what happened to the people after they left his courtroom. Okay, so that's so you guys know that. So let me pull up on this self-advancing Pharisees. Man, I'm loving this. Curious George. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys know about the Pharisees and the Sadducees, because I went to a Christian school, so I learned about all this stuff. Really good stuff, man. Yes, Brent says the whole circumstance seems a little dodgy. I'm 99% sure, based on looking at the email and the way it was worded, that it came from the plaintiff. Of course, guys, give me a break. All these people who are throwing out all these theories, like conspiracy theories that was someone else, the way it was drafted, come on, guys. You, as a lawyer, I could tell it looks like Georgetown writing. Yes, Ghost Man, did I? I don't know what I taught you, brother. I just like sharing things because, once I pass away, at least you guys will be able to come back and have a reference point. So let me see here. All right, so we got. Now, by the way, Life Under, what I need the section about when he starts talking about prejudice versus with prejudice, and then the other section where we get into the other issue. Hold on a second. Before I bore you guys too much, let's let Reluctant Prophet talk a little bit more, and then we'll get into it. All right, let's go.
Prompted unaliving threats. One seems a little bit far-fetched to me. And two, if it was the reason why he filed the lawsuit was because his family was getting unaliving threats, I would think that would be something important that you would add into the lawsuit if that were actually true and were actually happening. But nowhere in the lawsuit did he put that I was the cause of people threatening him and his family. Now, he obviously put in there some comments, and the comments weren't very, nice to the performance of his job, or weren't very flattering, but none of them were threatening. And so already while he's standing there telling me that, you know, you can't, it's always, somebody's always invoking the children, right? You know, their family's getting death threats. I'm just like, so it's already starting off. I'm wondering what he's going to do. He doesn't have any bag in his hand. He's not prepared. He doesn't have anything but this paper in his hand. So I continue to listen, and I told him, well, you know, I didn't have anything to do with anybody threatening, you know, any of your family, and I never told anybody that they should be doing that. And you know, what I did was, you know, basically put out a title that you didn't like, you know, and he admitted that as soon as that stopped, he wanted it to stop immediately. He wanted to take the video down. I think it was pretty clear that his feelings were hurt, and he was pretty upset by me saying that he kidnapped Lane Myers. I think that's pretty much in a nutshell what it was. He still tried to argue his point, saying that, you know, what I said was defamatory, but I think we all know at this point that it isn't defamatory. Buzz, are you going to sue? Well, that's the thing that I wanted to talk about and see if I could get any suggestions, because, you know, I hate to kick a man when he's down, but
Yeah, that's why I like this guy, because he's not a vindictive dude. Like, I don't see him as being vindictive at all. I think he's a pretty squared away guy, reasonable. And that's why I'm supporting him, because I think he's reasonable. He's not one of these half-cocked dudes who just flies off the handle. But anyways, I advanced pretty far in, so let me try to find. All right. Give me a second. So this is around 18. So at around 1810. All right. So here's basically what's going on. So Judge Ball initiated this action. He's saying, hold on, in good faith, to address ongoing defamatory statements made by Reluctant Prophet. However, given the escalating hostility and personal attacks, plaintiff has decided to prioritize personal safety and his family's well-being over continued litigation. Accordingly, plaintiff seeks to dismiss the action voluntarily and without prejudice. So there's that without prejudice thing. Reserving the right to pursue future remedies in the future if necessary. Well, I don't know that defamation is necessarily a remedy. It's a cause of action for damages. A remedy would be like the injunction. So just so you know, there's a difference between injunctive relief and then damages. Damages are where you try to get money, and a remedy would be like injunctive relief, where you're trying to shut someone up and shut down their YouTube channel. But here's the problem. Reluctant Prophet pointed this out, and I can just tell you this as a lawyer, like, as a general proposition, that there was no security there for him. He walked outside by himself, as we're going to see in the video with Lane Myers. And, you know, there was no sniper teams. And look, guys, if you know, and I don't know Reluctant Prophet that well, but I know the personality. He's a cool dude, man. He's not somebody who's going to threaten someone's life. And I'll be honest with you, from what I've seen from his channel, I don't see any crazy people. I see people who are angry that the administrative state has become the master. And they're smart enough to know that if they weren't brainwashed in the administrative college system, that the government's not supposed to run us. The government's supposed to be bound by the chains of the Constitution. And unfortunately, the modern day education system teaches the exact opposite. They don't even teach you that our revolution was started because the king tried to take our guns, our powder houses. Instead, they teach you that guns are evil. And if you own guns, you're probably a white supremacist. That's basically CNN and MSNBC. That's what you're going to learn, as well as most of your public schools and your college professors. Marxists, they hate America. And they're the ones who are brainwashing your blue-haired kids. They go into college and they come back home and your daughter thinks she's a dude and she's on hormones, right? So let's see here. Give me a bunch of ones for that statement, by the way, because it's pretty funny and true.
Yes, that's right, Brent. So, anyways, so we have basically we have a situation where Judge Ball, because I don't want to drag this out. I don't have 4 hours. I want to break it down in a lawyerly way, in my own comedic fashion, right? So, Judge Ball reserves his right to pursue further action in the future and claims that his life is being threatened by the pro se idiots, basically. All right. So, let me see here if I can try to find everything. Then we see Lane Myers. I gotta show you guys this. This is pretty good. Hold on one second. So Lane's in the courtroom, around right around. We'll start it right here.
Ball.
That's Lane Myers, by the way. Guy's kind of like an icon now.
I know. I can't believe it either. So, I would imagine that while Lane was walking with Judge Ball, there were probably FBI snipers up on all of the buildings protecting him as he walked through the downtown because of all the serious threats that went on. I mean, the guy walked up the elevator by himself, came out the elevator by himself, walked up to me, no security, So again, I try not to go off people's words. I try and go off people's actions. So him saying that he was threatened and the FBI got involved and was called, and I guess Rich Tracy was the one who called the FBI because of these serious threats. I'm just pretty surprised that, one, they let him walk over from the other court with, no security, and then the most dangerous guy in downtown Tucson that can't even go into the legal services building is able to walk hand in hand with Judge Ball all the way back to Justice Court. So, nothing adds up that these people ever say. And if that were truly the case, I think that, one, Lane had two great points. One was that he allowed him to walk all the way back to Justice Court. The other thing is, if somebody were actually have sent an email or were to phone call and threaten him or his family's life, an elected judge, that would probably be on the 5 o'clock news that somebody threatened a judge. So let's just call a spade and say he was exaggerating. But I digress. Let's go on. So this is Lane talking to Allie. She's the communications. We'll go over the new order. Of course, they had to, while one hand's doing one thing, the other hand's always, you got to watch the other hand. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, remember when I said there's no way that Lane could have gotten permission to record in court without the presiding judge's approval? Because we know that's what California is all about, right? Then I found out later, I guess under 122H, that no, actually, all he had to do was give prior notice and he could audio record, and that's what he did. So, but you see all these people like filming all the court personnel. So what ended up happening, I'll surmise it for you, is while all this is going on, one of the judges, who I guess had recused himself from another one of Lane's cases, decided to write this new rule that you're no longer able or allowed to record with video anywhere in the courtroom or even through a courtroom window. And I was like, oh my God, this sounds so much like the East German Stasi. I can't even, it's so hard for me to wrap my brain around this, that our country has come so far from what our founding fathers wanted for us to what it is now. And it just blows me away.
So while we were going to court, while we were doing all this in the last few days and preparing, they were writing a new order for filming and recording in the courts. So we'll go over that here in a little bit.
Yeah, look at number 120. They have the power to do it because they're judges. They can break the law. Explain to me how the rule says we can record here, and their rule says we can't. How that's consistent? I can't explain that. Can you explain that rule? Can you? Yeah. Can you? You know, it overrides the Supreme Court rule. Yeah, they apparently so. Apparently so. Overrides. That's what they say. We got to get permission. Yeah, that's what she's trying to say. Yeah, and
I don't have.
that's fine. No worries. I'm sure I'll catch up. They're not going to be able to explain to you how their rule that says we can't record complies with the Supreme Court rule that says we can. Will you admit that the Supreme Court rule says we can record? Yeah. Will you admit that? Will you admit that? Will you admit that that rule says we can record in this place right now? Okay. So then that means your rule says
So, well, this was all going on while I was over talking to Judge Ball. So, like I said, spilled on myself. Dogs jumping up on me. So, so there was kind of a little bit of a circus already happening right from the get-go.
Stop. It says we can record there. No, we might say that. It does not.
All right, so there's Judge Ball and myself having the conversation.
There he is. Look at him. Got the hippie look going on. Looks very Californian, doesn't he?
It says the use of military must use.
That's all we got of the conversation with me and Judge Ball, but I wouldn't lie to you guys about what we were talking about.
Reasonable means to advise the visitors of these provisions. And it says in these provisions that for I guess the first judge. Hey, what's up, brother? All right. Absolutely. Nice to see you. Merry Christmas to you. She doesn't want to be involved. Sure.
Yeah, we also got to find out who was the one that asked the sheriff to be down there. I'd be curious if it was Rich Tracy. I can't imagine why he would think that he would need the sheriff down there. Maybe that was Judge Ball's security. But the funny thing is Judge Ball left the courtroom. Lane followed right behind him, and the sheriff didn't even move.
He's just not the type. Yeah. I don't like it. Law enforcement, she doesn't ever want to. Well, but she's a little bit. How's it going, man? Are you sure? Merry Christmas to you as well. Oh, really? Good, man. Had a great day.
All right, I don't want to bore you guys too much, so I was able to open up the transcript. So now we're gonna rock and roll, okay? Because now I can like do my legal research. So let's go to 1927. Hold on, because this is where I'm really impressed with Reluctant Prophet. Listen to what he's got to say around 1927. And this dude could be a lawyer if he wanted to, for reals. Not that I would wish that on my worst enemy.
Going on, people there. There's a lot going on for about a 45-second hearing. So, accordingly, the plaintiff seeks to dismiss this action voluntarily and without prejudice, reserving the right to pursue remedies in the future if necessary. He was never going to pursue remedies because he's in the wrong, and it's just the typical of these prosecutors and these judges. That shows you how the judges aren't even impartial. Like, it should be like 50-50 on these things getting dismissed with or without prejudice if the judge was really impartial. What evidence did Ball prove? Well, he didn't put anything in the complaint about him being him being in danger or his family being in danger. So then he put request relief for the foregoing reasons. Plaintiff respectfully requests that this court enter an order dismissing this action without prejudice. So my biggest concern was the without prejudice while I was sitting there reading it. Had I thought further, since he is a lawyer, I don't even know if I could have, but I do believe that I had the ability to, before the judge granted the motion, I could have asked him to go ahead and impose sanctions on Judge Ball for failing to adhere to 5.2b, which is formatting on his complaint. And then also, he never responded in a timely fashion to the court's orders.
Right. Okay. So we get all that. So basically, Judge Ball didn't really do most of the stuff that you would normally do if you were a learned jurist, right? That's what he's arguing. So I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit because we don't have a lot of time, and I know you guys are getting bored. But just check out what Reluctant Prophet did.
Since he put it in his motion that it would be dismissed without prejudice, and even though we sat there and agreed to it, I wanted to make sure that it was on the record that it was going to be with prejudice, because I know what would have happened had I not said anything. The judge would have just signed that order. Next thing I know, it would have been dismissed without prejudice. So I wanted to say something right here.
Agreed? Correct. The matter will be dismissed. Okay. All right. Thank you. You too. Thank you, Your
So that's the judge. Like a hippie, right?
Interesting.
He's gone. He's out of there like a flash.
You're saying like the anti-clan, I thought. You saying like that? Conversation was.
All right.
This should be a natural now, Richard.
Okay, so let's move it forward a little bit more because I want you guys to understand what happened here. So let's go to about 108. 108. Let's go to 107 just to make sure we nail it. Check this out, guys.
To write a new order at the courts for filming and audio recording.
Just keep listening.
Oh, let's look at this first. I'm proud of this one. There you go. I wish I would have asked him for to impose sanctions, but application for a temporary restraining order. Both parties are present. Parties inform the court that a stipulation has been reached as the dismissal of this matter with prejudice.
With prejudice. So there you go. So like I don't know if this applies to the defamation case, but the request for the restraining order where Judge Ball, the guy that looks like the hippie, right, that went to Georgetown, far left communist university, that case was thrown out with prejudice, which means he cannot bring it again. So that is pretty freaking amazing to me that a non-lawyer was able to pull that off. And I'll be honest with you guys, me personally, if this was in California, I would think that Judge Ball would probably want to resign his position as a judge. He looks like a kid, and he the way he's handling himself is not very judge or lawyer like. And I'm just thinking there's going to be some real problems here. based on what I read on his campaign website, the 9 years judicial experience, like to me, that would tell me that he thinks that he's proclaiming that he's been on the bench for 9 years. What do you give me a bunch of ones if you guys think if you saw a judge's website and it said 9 years judicial experience, that means you thought that guy was a judge. And give me a bunch of twos if you think that means that he only meant that he worked for a judge for 6 years. What do you think? I'd love to see that. I'm really confused. Right, James? Yeah. So even James Forbes is blown away. Like, guys, I got to tell you, like when I first was watching these guys, especially Lane, I was thinking, this guy's going to end up getting locked up. And yeah, he got locked up, but guess what? He got falsely imprisoned based upon what my understanding is of the law in Arizona. You can't just find someone in contempt and lock them up. You've got to give them a proper hearing. And that didn't happen. And then to blame your courtroom staff and say it's their fault and try to pass the buck. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was a Marine. And I grew up when we still looked up to guys like Eisenhower and the buck stops here and all that stuff. And I don't know, man. I'm just, you guys tell me, what do you think? Do you think that Lane Myers was kidnapped when the judge ordered him to be removed by the staff and he was locked up into jail? Because to me, if I was a non-attorney, that's what I would think. I would think that this guy literally had this guy locked up because he pointed out that the judge had on the website, the justice of the peace had on the website that he was proclaiming to be a judge for 9 years. That's what I would think. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I would think. Yeah, that's what I would think. Yeah. So far, it looks like most of you guys agree with Lane and Reluctant Prophet. By the way, I'm in the process of trying to find a way to get waived into the Arizona bar. It's too bad I didn't know these guys sooner, because I think that they have grounds for a writ of mandate / prohibition on this new order that you can't film in the court. I think the Arizona Supreme Court was very clear that outside the courtroom you can, but inside the courtroom it has to be with permission of the presiding judge. But again, I'm not an Arizona attorney, so I can't really make a judgment call until I get my license there, since I'm already an officer of the court. But I've always had a lot of respect for Arizona because they're open carry, pro Second Amendment. I mean, until before the Californians moved there with their Marxist garbage and started destroying the state. It was pretty legit, man. Now, let's check out 137. It's another part of this video. 137. Let's check it out, guys. Start right around 137.
Which generally requires as the basis for recusal something other than rulings, opinions, forms, or statements made by the judge during the course of the trial.
See.
Moreover, the court does not find any actual prejudice or bias exists. Nevertheless, having carefully considered the subtleties of this particular case,
Subtleties.
at 913, including the recency of this court's connection with at least one of the associates alleged in plaintiff's motion for recusal, the court will recuse itself in an abundance of caution.
So he's talking about this other judge that recused, I think it's a female who recused herself. Obviously, guys, I want you to watch. It's like 4 hours, and I don't have all night. Unfortunately, I've got a law practice to run, but I mean, I'm just so impressed by these guys. I can't help myself. Let me share this link with you if I can. Dag nabbit, the fudge, man. Hold on a second, guys. By the way, I'm super tired, guys. I've been traveling and trying to deal with my daughter. So there's that link. All right. So really quick, Does anybody have, so basically in a nutshell, here's what happened. I need that link, Reluctant Prophet. I think you said it was 44 minutes in. I'm going to try to find that really quick. Where Lane is like following Judge Ball down the street. It's so good. Like he's literally like following him, asking him questions. I just don't see it. Heck, nabbit. We may have to come back for another show. Reluctant Prophet, dude, help me out really quick again, brother. Where in that video? So there's a section of the video where Lane goes out and confronts the judge, allegedly who's in fear for his life, right? With his, his hair all up in a man bun or whatever. And he's telling him, hey, you did basically kidnap me and what you did was wrong. And you had no right to have your staff remove me and put me in jail. And for you to deny it is ridiculous because you were in charge. It's like, me being a Marine, like I'm responsible for if I was a corporal, I would be like, whatever my lance corporals or my privates did, that's on me. And so for him to sit there and try to blame it on his staff, number one, if I was his staff, I would resign. I would be like, get me another position because this guy's not standing tall for me. He's acting like a typical college kid who has no experience in leadership. That's what I would think. But like if I was in law enforcement or not, that was my judge and I was the bailiff, would get me out of this guy's courtroom. He's literally trying to blame me for his orders and commandments. What do you guys think? Let me see here. 4,200. Okay, let's go to 4,200. By the way, guys, give me a bunch of ones for Life Under the Microscope. This dude is freaking legit. And hey, by the way, Life Under, I'm joking around about the chair force. I mean, I am. I love all military. I'm always going to think Marines are the best. But if anybody's got the balls to put their lives on their lines for a brother, you're always going to be my brother. I don't give a shit, man. Anyways, let's get into it. Let me find it really quick. Stand by, platoon, attend. All right, let's find the 42. Find that 42 there, you. Stand by. All right. Started right around 40. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Right around here.
Let me see if I can figure out if I can get it louder for you guys.
That's right. Uncle Sam's baby killers.
Senate audio. Let's see.
So we're right around 42. There you, Life Under. Give me some push-ups, Life Under, if this isn't the elevator scene.
Let's try this.
Nice man bun.
Good morning. We're getting the matter of
There we go. You're
Four
right.
corner, thanks for coming in. Ready, rabble rouser.
Right. It's coming, guys. So that's Judge Ball with his man bun. And apparently he's like a graduate of Georgetown. And of course, you guys know I have no respect for our college system. Ever since Obama, the whole public education and college system, far left Marxists, these are the people who are going to end up becoming judges. They know nothing about our Constitution or our Bill of Rights. And if they do, they despise it, in my opinion. And let's just watch.
All right, so stipulation All right. Agreed.
All right. So he asked Judge Ball if it was a stipulation for just the we'll see if we can get some better audio here, but it was a stipulation to dismiss the TRO and the lawsuit, or just the TRO. And Judge Ball said it was for both the TRO and the lawsuit. And then I interrupted the judge right here.
Yes, sir. All right. On stipulation of the parties, the court hereby dismisses 2024-760.
Since he put it in his motion that it would be dismissed without prejudice, and even though we sat there and agreed to it, I wanted to make sure that it was on the record that it was going to be with prejudice, because I know what would have happened had I not said anything. The judge would have just signed that order. Next thing I know, it would have been dismissed without prejudice. So I wanted to say something right here.
Okay, agreed. Correct. The matter will be dismissed. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Oh, it's the wrong video?
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, it's not. He goes outside. Just watch.
Interesting.
He's gone. He's out of there like a flash.
Okay, it's around 15 minutes. All right, here we go.
Yeah, we can. And so if we got to make up our own definition and we're the common man, then why is it a problem that if we use the
So this is Lane Myers, and I believe he's out here talking to Judge Ball after Judge Ball's left the courtroom. Now, in my estimation, if Judge Ball is in fear for his life and he's claiming that the FBI is involved, or Delta Force operations or whatever, he has to dismiss because his family's in danger. How is it that Lane Meyer, his alleged most dangerous opponent, is out here talking to him on the street? Tell me, what do you guys think? I don't know. I'm totally confused. Let's check it out.
superlative or whatever you want to kidnapping to get attention on YouTube, why is that a problem? That needs to be adjudicated in court. You're supposed to have thick skin. You're literally supposed to be a judge. You're supposed to have the thickest skin of them all. And if you feel that you can stand on business, that I wasn't kidnapped, that I was unlawfully, or that I was lawfully detained, because right now everybody's pointing the finger at you, and you're pointing the finger back at them. Court security saying that they put me in jail because you ordered them to. Pima County Jail saying you put me in jail because, or that they're holding me there because you told them to.
Now, again, I don't know if he's talking to Judge Ball right now, but it looks like he's talking to someone. I could be totally wrong, but listen to what Lane is saying, because it makes perfectly good sense.
Superior Court is saying that they had nothing to do with it. No, that's what they're saying. Now, what you're saying is that you ordered me into contempt, but that's not how Rule 35 works. So if you actually study the rule, you found me in contempt. Yes, you found me in contempt. Summarily found me in contempt. That means you should have said, okay, I summarily find you in contempt. Now we're gonna you get your chance to speak. Now's your chance to give your 2 cents. Why'd you do contempt, whatever. Go ahead, and then you'd say, okay, now I'm assigning this for sentencing at another hearing so that we can both have time to cool down from the moment and let it ride and come back with cool heads and do my sentencing. And then if that's 35.2. 35.3 says that if you're gonna do it by hearing and notice, so you transferred it because you said it was personal. So that means I'm no longer in contempt. That means I'm accused of contempt. So now if I'm accused of contempt, that means I get a notice and an order of show cause and a hearing and a trial with you where I can call you and question you and say, why did you think I was in contempt on that? We can have a jury trial. And then at a separate hearing, I can get sentenced to jail. But nowhere in Rule 35 direct criminal contempt, 35.1, 2, 3, or 4, does it authorize you to say, you're in direct criminal contempt, take him to jail. There's no rule in that. So if you're saying rely on the public record, well, I sat in jail for 30 hours with a piece of paper that said I was sitting in jail for Rule 35, violation of Rule 35. But they couldn't hold me in there for Rule 35, they said, because that's not a crime. So they had to make up a charge and put it down on there just to book me, because there's no way you can get taken directly to jail for contempt. Now, you're saying that you told them to take me into custody. Well, what did you think was going to happen once I was in custody?
Mr. Myers, have you seen all the court orders in the matter that were issued?
I've seen all of them.
I guess that is Judge Ball talking to him, but hear what Lane is saying. He's saying you're basically mincing words. You're saying you just ordered them to put me into custody. Well, guys, I challenge you to go on Grok or ChatGPT and look at what custody means, because my understanding, and I'm just some stupid idiot lawyer who's only been practicing law for 20 years, but I'm pretty sure custody means that you're not free to leave. And so to me, if I'm in custody, that means that I'm under arrest. And if a court put me into custody, hold on a minute. If a court puts me into custody in violation of the court rules, well, why couldn't I presume that that's false imprisonment? And would it be a stretch then to say, well, if it's false imprisonment, how is that any different from a kidnapping? How is that any different? I'm asking. I'm not disparaging anyone, but how is a false imprisonment much different than a kidnapping to a non-lawyer? Okay, if you have no legal training or very little legal training, is it a stretch to think that a false imprisonment or custodial arrest is much different than a kidnapping? Number one. And by the way, we know what kidnapping means from our experiences, right? From watching shows like Perry Mason, right? Right? Or 1 Adam 12 or Chips, right, guys? I'm asking, I'm not telling. But if that's the case, how could it be defamation to say that a judge falsely arrested me, put me into custody, and then kidnapped me in violation of the court rules? And so if you listen to what Lane is saying, I mean, I can't believe the judge is literally making statements I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, don't you think that the federal government could get involved in a case like this, like a civil rights investigation, like a criminal civil? Would you want to stay on the bench? Like if you had a good mentor, if you were a judge and you had a good mentor, would you stay on the bench after all this went down? Would you really want? Let's keep watching. This is just blowing my mind. I can't believe this is happening, and I'm seeing a pattern in practice of Arizona judges, like especially recycled ones from California, who don't even know what the 10th Amendment is based upon congressional testimony, or don't know that there's like the difference between federal police and state police powers. Or even judges on the federal bench that can't distinguish the difference between male and female biology. It's all political, right? Like diversity, equity, and inclusion, as opposed to the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree. This is blowing my mind. Like, the only reason why I think you should be on the bench is because all you care about is natural law and the Bill of Rights. Like all this political crap, like male, like not being able to identify biology, like XXX and XY chromosome. Like, really? Why would you let someone like that on the bench? I'm asking. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
I'm still asking, what did you think was going to happen? So you think that another judge? No, they're saying that it was on you. So you're saying, I get what you're saying. You're saying rely on the public record. You said I'm transferring this, but you said you were transferring the contempt 35.4.
So all the orders that were
right. So if you transferred the 30, if you issued the order, Judge Paul said, I'm finding under Rule 35.4, I'm switching this for administrative, having the court admin switch it over so it doesn't look like impartiality or all that stuff. Okay. So if that was what was supposed to happen, then I wasn't supposed to be taken into custody. When you made your determination that you were transferring it to a different judge, then you should have said he's no longer in contempt. That's up for another judge to decide. and we can have a hearing on that. So your orders aren't even, there's no law, Judge Ball, there's no law that you can apply to your order. We can look at your orders, we can read your orders, but then when we pull up the court rules and we apply it next to it, there's no overlap. Your order does not align with Rule 35. So if you're saying, well, I only made the order to take him into custody, well, then you said kidnap him, because you said take him into custody with no plan, it's not even unlawful detention because there was no lawful, like under 35. There's no legal reason for you to point your finger at me and say take him into custody under Rule 35. Not indirect, not in the same hearing that the contempt occurs at. So if that's what you're going to stand on, including you're going to file a lawsuit against Mark, I realize you dismissed it. Good idea. And you're gonna get feelings. You're not even supposed to admit you're watching YouTube videos, let alone sue somebody over comments in the YouTube. You're supposed to have a thick skin. So if I'm going around saying, why?
I was getting death threats.
You're not getting death threats. So why?
Several of them referred to the FBI by court security.
I'm friends with the FBI. I'll call Agent Michelle right now and ask her if you.
All right. I talked to Lane. He said he's going to call down there. We're going to get to the bottom of this one too to see if there was really some threats. And I don't know, Richard.
Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, you could do public records requests to try to find this stuff out, but from knowing Mark or Matt, whatever his name is, Reluctant Prophet, and Lane as I do, these guys are not violent dudes. They just care about their families, man. You know, like, I don't even think that they carry. You know, they're not a threat. They're a threat to people who want to deprive us of our rights. At least that's my impression. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. But I just think that, I don't know, I just have a really hard time. First of all, I don't think that you should ever even try to get on the bench. Somebody just said that he became a judge by acclamation, or in other words, he ran unopposed. But I don't think that anybody should even try to become a lawyer until they've had real life experience. I don't think anybody should become a politician until they've been an entrepreneur and had to run their own business. I mean, guys like Obama and the Bidens, Pelosi's, these career politicians who've just spent all their lives in academia, I have no respect for them because they don't suffer the consequences of the laws that they pass. They don't suffer the consequences of the laws that they pass. They flood our country with illegal aliens because they want to get votes, give them free stuff out of our paycheck while we suffer, right? How do you think they're going to vote? The guy's getting free stuff. Come on, think about it. So yeah, I just, the administrative state, all these guys, not my cup of tea. A true libertarian knows that it's not his responsible to look out for his neighbor. If you look after your own family and your neighbor looks after his family, nobody needs anything for free. And now, when I was growing up, even the mere mention of welfare, you were looked down upon. You were looked down upon if you would take free government money. It was like a disgrace. The only time it was even closely or remotely acceptable to take someone else's money, because that's what you're doing, essentially, is if like you were a quadriplegic. And now it's like just totally accepted. People going into Congress or the Senate with $10 in their bank account and they come out billionaires like the Pelosi's. Those aren't libertarians. Enemies of the American people. Yeah, well, a true libertarian doesn't support the welfare state and then try to say they're a libertarian. So anyways, so that was a pretty interesting show, and we got an opportunity to get an understanding of what happened with Lane and Reluctant Prophet. And I'm hoping that you guys can kind of see, like, I don't see any threat. I don't see any issues going on there. And I think that hopefully you guys got an opportunity to see these guys are not a threat to anyone. They're just normal people who are worried about their families. And my understanding is that Reluctant Prophet got into this whole thing because another dude down the street was getting harassed by local politicians and law enforcement. And so he stepped in to try to help out. And so ultimately, that's what happened. And so, yeah, Lynn Davidson says, Lane, tell the judge you don't scare me, bro. So do you guys have any questions in the sidebar before we close it out? We've been on for about an hour and 40. I'm working on a couple of appellate briefs right now, so I do need to get back to my regular job. But hopefully you guys had a good time, tonight. Started a little bit late, so, I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. And, we'll go from there. Let me see here. I agree. Tracy says, I agree. We need to grow up mature, professional judges that are not scared to stand up for the law. That's right. Right on, Ghost Man. And I love that group 2FA. That's always a motivating sound to me. It kind of sounds like Second Amendment. By the way, if you guys are ever out in Nevada and you want to put some rounds down range, come on out, man. Got a couple of buddies. We'll go out and set up some steel targets and have some fun, and we'll bleed red, white, and blue for a couple of hours. Show us where the babies come from. Yeah, I got a question for you, Life Under. If I put a bunch of transgenders on an island for 100 years, and one woman and 200 men on an island for 200 years, do you agree that the island where the transgenders were, you would have skeletons, and the island where you had the 200 dudes and the one woman would have a flourishing society? What do you think? Yeah. You should, Ghost Man. Anytime, we can go to the Leathernecks bar and historical museum and, get a really great hamburger. I'll have a near beer and we can go put some rounds down range. I got at least one Navy SEAL buddy who used to be a Marine combat corpsman who will come out, and we can do some shoot houses and have some fun, talk about liberty and freedom and all that good stuff. And by the way, just so you guys can understand something. So our founding fathers always intended that the Constitution and Bill of Rights apply towards free men who understood natural law. So when you allow people to come into our country from Roman civil law democracies and communist countries who don't believe in our way of life, you are essentially agreeing that you want to destroy our country and turn us into a Marxist state. So in order to be a libertarian, you have to first support natural law and the concept of liberty. And if you think that it's okay to come up here and get free things and not be called an illegal alien, then you probably don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed the show tonight and that we can agree at least on one thing, that liberty and freedom and the republic are what matter. And that Lane and Reluctant Prophet, in my opinion, are heroic guys and good guys, and that you should support their channel. So make sure to like and subscribe to Lane Myers and Reluctant Prophet's channel. Make sure to support all of us. And that's right, James Forbes. That's right. It's hilarious when I hear people say things like, "Oh, you're not a libertarian if you call people illegal aliens who entered our country illegally who get free stuff." And I'm like, well, wait a minute. These people are coming from like Nicaragua, what 30% of their population is in our country now, communist country. And they came here because they were offered free things, not because of any opportunity that we have to offer. And of course, they're going to vote for the free party of free stuff. So of course they're illegal aliens and they shouldn't be here. They should ask to come here legally, and they should understand the concept of the difference between a Roman civil law democracy and a constitutional republic. Because if you don't understand the difference, then you don't have a right to be here. The only people who should be allowed to be in our country are the people who support the concept of natural law. Natural law means that you believe all your rights came from an all-powerful creator. If you come from a Marxist or communist country, you're an atheist, and you don't believe that your rights come from a creator. You believe that your rights came from the state.
And that means you're the enemy of the Republic. You're the enemy of America, and you should not be here. And so, in other words, you're an anarchist. So you people who think that you're libertarians, who espouse the concept that I can't call someone an illegal alien who snuck across my border and is getting free things out of my paycheck, you're not a libertarian. You're an anarchist. So just accept what you are and stop trying to say you're something that you're not. But anyways, with that being said, guys, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel. And Semper Fi, do or die. Hoorah!